scorer, Herschel Walker. There's talk of getting him involved in all phases of the offense and trying to help score. This will be the start right here. Near sellout crowd. Stadium seats 78,000, and we're underway. And Walker will down it in the end zone, and they'll take it. 1st and 10 from the 20. Wade Wilson, the starter at quarterback for the Vikings, 5th-year player out of East Texas State. And the defense that he'll be facing of Kansas City, an impressive one. Neil Smith left in, Dan Saliamua nose tackle, Bill Moss right in. Linebacking core, young and impressive. Chris Martin, ex-Viking, Percy Snow, the rookie, Dino Hackett, and Derek Thomas. Secondary, Pearson, Ross, Porter, and Donaldson. 1st and 10 for the Vikes from their own 20. Jesse Clark in motion. Walker with the handoff. Stop, maybe a yard. Tackled by Neil Smith. Offensive front of the Vikings, Gary Zimmerman, Randall McDaniel, very impressive player. Chris Foote at center, Todd Kalis, Tim Irwin, and Steve Jordan at tight end. Backs and receivers, Herschel Walker, Jesse Clark, Anthony Carter, a happy one I might add, and Hassan Jones, who did not play during the preseason because of knee problems. 2nd and 8. Out of the pro set. Wilson back to pass. Knocked down. Give the credit to Neil Smith, who got through and batted it down. And Randy, that's that aggressive front three of Kansas City.
That's right, James. They reduced down into that Philadelphia Eagle look that Buddy Ryan's made so famous. Unbelievable they got that much pressure. Obviously looked like Wade Wilson was trying to audible. You'll see right here, everybody's on the line of scrimmage. Wade Wilson initially has time, but Smith right here, number 90, slaps the ball out of his hand. Great play by Neil Smith out of Nebraska. Now it's who wants to get the ball, and it's a tussle between Moss and Martin as to who will come up with it.
Todd Kalis looks as if he's going to have his hands full today.
The Minnesota Vikings will have their hands full today.
Steve DeBerg, quarterback for the Chiefs. 1st and 10, ball at the 15. Okoye hit low by Mike Merriweather. After a gain of 2, to bring up a 2nd and 8. Well, no better talent defensively in the NFL than right there in the purple and white. And the line, Noga, Thomas, Keith Millard, and Chris Dolman. Backers, Deuce Bobbitt, Studwell, and Merriweather. Secondary, Lee, Rutland, Browner, and Fullington. Call it 2nd and 9. Stephon Page in motion. Bird, handoff to Okoye. Okoye billing his way forward down near the 6-yard line. And Randy, one big horse indeed.
Oh, indeed. And he told us the other day that, hey, you know, I don't think about just getting to a tackler. I want to at least get 3 or 4 yards after I get to the tackler.
I think that really is an impressive mindset to think after you get hit, I'm thinking of another 3 or 4 yards.
And you talk to the Minnesota Vikings, James, they weren't concerned about doing anything different for anybody Kansas City had. They said, we just play our ball game. It doesn't matter if it's a Okoye.
Marty Schottenheimer, head coach, pleased with that pickup. Call it 3rd and 2. 2 tight ends, Roberts and Whitaker. This is Alfredo Robertson in motion. Okoye hit low, still on his feet. Inside the 5. About a 1-yard pickup. And he attracts an awful lot of attention.
He needs an awful lot of attention. You're not going to tackle this guy with one defender. I don't care if it's Keith Millard, Joey Browner, anybody that's been to that Pro Bowl. You need a gang of help to tackle that man.
Randy, we talk about how big Okoye is, 6'1", about 263. There are only 3 Minnesota defensive players who weigh as much or more than Okoye.
And the scary thing is, James, I don't know if they've got anybody faster than Okoye. He runs a 4.45 40-yard dash.
First and goal for the Chiefs. Play action. Wide open. Touchdown, Kansas City. Bill Jones. that's what Marty Schottenheimer and crew thought would work, the play action.
We'll get a good look here at Steve DeBird, the amateur magician. Fakes the handoff, puts it into the fullback stomach, Collier, and nobody's out here. The Vikings said, we're going to let this guy roll out. He can't hurt us with the run. Well, he can't hurt you with the run, but if you let those guys go underneath, if you let a guy like Jones out of the backfield free, you're going to have some serious trouble.
First NFL touchdown for Bill Jones, a second-year player. And Nick Lowry on for the point after, and it's good. So Randy Cross called it at the top that Minnesota should not be lulled to sleep. Right now, they trail by 7. So take a look at the scoring drive. Of course, Bill Jones with the touchdown, but that man there, Christian Okoye, set it all up with some powerful running.
He's an unbelievable runner. A guy, like I said, a 4.45 40. It's 263 pounds, and he gives all the credit to those guys up front. That offensive line, they have a real, honest-to-goodness love affair going. He'll do anything for that offensive line.
So Kansas City collectively licking its chops in conversations with us yesterday. Randy staying very focused out to the early lead. And be aware that the scoreboard here at the stadium is off. 11:43 remaining in the first quarter, and Lowry kicks it off to Herschel Walker, who takes it at the 1. Across the 15, and Walker hit hard and dropped at about the 20. The scoring play for Kansas City.
The things to look at right here, look at Jones right here. Concentrate on Merriweather here. Jones comes up to block Browner. He goes in the flat. Merriweather bites with a fake. Jones is going to be wide open. Right there.
First and 10, ball at the 21. Wilson, the pass. Overthrows the intended receiver, Anthony Carter, so it'll bring up a second and 10. That time, Herschel Walker operating out of a split backfield with Jesse Clark.
The only time going to Pro Bowl really matters is during early February when you're in Hawaii. Randall McDaniel was there. Zimmerman was there. 2 great Pro Bowl linemen. That time they had a little bit of a breakdown, and they got Wade Wilson smacked pretty good by Bill Moss, number 63. If Kansas City can keep putting pressure on him, it could be a long day for Wade Wilson.
Second and 10. Walker and Clark in backfield. This is Clark. And Jesse Clark with a really strong run up to about the 28, a pickup of about 8 yards on the play.
Jesse Clark is the guy that Bernsey said, hey, we let this guy go early in the week, but I'm starting him because he brings an attitude to this team. He brings a confidence. He loves to block. He loves to run. He's a real fighter.
And Bernsey is not one to mince his words, said that Jesse Clark is indeed a stabilizing force. Nickel defensive package in for Kansas City. 3rd and 2 for the Vikes. Vikes with 3 wideouts. Inside handoff to Walker. Walker near the first down marker. Should have it. Stopped by Danny Copeland. You know, Herschel Walker certainly runs hard, but a lot more taper than I thought he might be in terms of physical build.
He's a very deceiving runner. He looks like he's sort of shuffling and gliding and moving. He's got a lot of speed, which is a well-known fact. And when he's doing that gliding and moving, he's moving right along. They gave him the ball. It was 7 yards later before anybody touched it.
Battle in Detroit between Tampa Bay and Detroit, a much improved book team. Here we got 1st and 10 for the Vikes. Ball marked at the 31. Wilson back to pass. Throws it low in the direction of Hassan Jones. And Wilson lucky that one wasn't picked off. Jeff Donaldson right there in the territory.
That looked like kind of a oops, I didn't really mean it pass. He sort of got that thing chunked into his hand and at the very last minute threw it into the ground.
Hassan Jones did not see any action during the preseason. A little problem with his knee, Randy, but supposedly okay.
Right, there was no cartilage damage, but actually what they did, they went in there, they removed some inflammation, which is a very general term, and Hassan says it's fine. Clark in motion. Walker, the ball carried. Hit hard and stopped. Loses the ball.
Kansas City players say they've got it, and indeed they do. So Kansas City with the second great opportunistic defensive play. And Saliamua comes up with the fumble recovery.
Now just to right here, look at McDaniel, 64, misses Martin. Martin, look at that hit right on the ball. Herschel Walker did not have a chance. Kalish tries to jump on it, but he's not getting that ball away from Dan Saliamua. Here we see the hit again. Now the ball's on the ground. Kalish should have had it, but Saliamua is not to be denied.
You think Chris Martin's got a point to prove? He used to play with the Vikings from 84 to 88. Right now, Chiefs ball inside the 30 of Minnesota. First and 10. Okoye. And Okoye inside the 25. So about the 23-yard line, a pickup of 5. Stopped by Mike Merriweather.
Mike Webster, the former All-Pro center, number 53 for the Kansas City Chiefs, told us yesterday, he says, hey, look, we got a technique called push and pester. This Okoye, guys got to get off us to block him. We just kind of stay on him, we stay on him, we stay on him. When they start leaving us, we push them to the ground.
9:29 remaining in the first quarter. Chiefs on top. 7-0. 3 wideouts in on 2nd and 5. Okoye. And the player nicknamed the Nigerian Nightmare. Indeed, proving to be just that in the early going to Minnesota. 3-yard pickup. Stopped by Scott Studwell and Keith Millard. Randy, now again, I go back to the top. You said you felt that Minnesota was overly confident. How did you see that, and how did that translate into being lulled to sleep out here?
Well, I think Minnesota tried to stress too much. We're just going to do what we do best. We're not too worried about these guys. They actually told us certain players were pigeons. You don't do that in an opener. This is a very emotional game, more than any other game in the regular season.
3rd and 2. 4 wideouts for the Chiefs. DeBerg out of the shotgun. Touchdown, Kansas City. Todd McNair. A 22-yard pass play from Steve DeBerg to Todd McNair.
Todd McNair, the other back in the Kansas City offense. Steve DeBerg handles the pressure well and dumps it off. Tackling is about 90% attitude. The attitude here isn't there, but the guy with the ball's got enough attitude for everybody, and he scores. So you see Mr. DeBerg, 14-year veteran, and he's not going to take his eye off that guy because he knows he's got a chance to go to the end zone.
And Nick Lowry on for the point after. The second of the afternoon, and it's good. And the Chiefs have sprinted out to a 14-point lead over the Minnesota Vikings. That score is correct. Kansas City on top, 14-0 in the first quarter. 8:31 remaining. As Steve DeBerg to Todd McNair play a 22-yard pass play, and the Chiefs out in front. Christian Okoye doing the dirty work, 5 carries for 17 yards. And DeBerg, you said he's an amateur magician, and he's quite effective so far.
He's very, very effective in his faking with his hands. He can actually put the ball in there, pull it out. He can fool a lot of good defensive backs. And right now, Minnesota looks a little confused. That wasn't play action last time, and they literally dropped the receiver and let McNair come free.
Nick Lowry busy in the early going here. Pushes Walker about 7 yards deep. And Herschel Walker with an excellent return across the 20. Hits at about the 24 to 25-yard line, stopped by Bill Jones. A 27-yard return by Herschel Walker, and you see the numbers on the previous scoring play by Kansas City.
And that's that key play, that fumble caused by Chris Martin, number 57, comes in. Opening game of the season, most emotional time of the year, I believe, out short of the playoffs. McDaniel can't even touch Martin. Martin comes in with a head on the ball, and the rest is all Kansas City.
First and 10 Vikes from their own 24. Clark and Walker in the backfield. Hassan Jones in motion. This is Walker. And Walker across the 25 to about the 27. Followed a 3-yard pickup. Bring up 2nd and 7. Randy, do you think there may be some extra venom on the part of Kansas City because of this talk about the NFC dominance over the AFC?
Well, it's curious. You talked to Marty Schottenheimer, the head coach of Kansas City. I said, well, what is this NFC dominance of the AFC? He says, hey, look, you take Joe Montana and the 49ers out of the mix, we're dead even. It's not that big a deal. You look at the competition between the two conferences. I mean, the NFC won last year, I believe, like 29-24 in head-to-head matchups. That is not dominance.
And there's a player down on the field for Minnesota, Todd Kalis, third-year right guard out of Arizona State. And Jerry Burns said he really did have himself one great camp, and they would hate to see him down. We'll check on him when we come back. Strong college football action yesterday. Number 17, Pittsburgh over Boston College, and Oklahoma gets by Randy's old school, UCLA.
It'd be fine if they get away from those home openers.
Well, that sets up a college football season premiere next week here on CBS. Pittsburgh and Oklahoma, Michigan against Notre Dame, and it all begins with the college football today. 2nd and 6. Walker. Make that Jesse Clark as he spins his way for a couple. We'll bring up a 3rd and 2. Clark running hard.
You see on your screen there, number 59, Percy Snow, the rookie linebacker, coming out now here on 3rd down. Percy is a hitter. Carl Peterson says this is a young, talented guy. It's a great test for him. He's never played against this good a pair of offensive guards.
3rd and 2. 3 wideouts in for the Vikes. Wilson out of the shotgun. And caught by Anthony Carter. And he looks to have enough for the first down, and indeed he does. Anthony Carter, playing with slightly bruised ribs, thought that he was going to play with a little bit of protection there, but said, no, this is for real, don't need it.
Well, on this play, the only protection Anthony Carter has is the fact that he doesn't have to absorb very much of this hit he's about to take. Watch him get the ball. He's got Ross, and bingo! Kevin Porter lays one right on Kevin Ross, number 31.
6:20 remaining in the first quarter. 1st and 10. Wilson complete to Jesse Clark, and Clark smacked ball. And a wicked hit applied by Chris Martin, who indeed is playing with a vengeance.
He's playing like he has something to prove to all those folks back where he used to live in Minneapolis.
3-yard pickup on the play.
Now this is a play, you know the back's going to be matched up man on man. It's his job to beat him. Well, he never gets a chance to beat Chris Martin, because as soon as he turns around, he sees nothing but white face mask and red helmet.
Chris Martin, the man who in 2 off seasons of working out with the Chiefs has not missed a day of weightlifting. And we've got a fan out on the field here, as if he's going out to talk to his hero, Anthony Carter. And I tell you, he's going to pay the price for that. Well, Randy, we saw Todd Kalis leave the field earlier, slightly injured, replaced by Craig Wolfley, 11th-year vet out of Syracuse.
Well, Wolfley's a guy who played for Pittsburgh for years in that great offensive line. He's a good trapper, but he's very undersized. Something to keep in mind. He gets up against one of these big defensive linemen for Kansas City.
2nd and 6. Walker down on the carpet. Maybe a couple. Ira Hillary into the game for the Vikes. Jesse Clark heading to the sideline. 5:10 remaining in the first quarter, and it's been all Kansas City. So it was a gain of 1, bringing up a 3rd and 5. Carter and Hillary to the bottom of the screen. Wilson going up top, complete to Steve Jordan for the first down plus. So Steve Jordan, who indicated he wanted to be used even more in the passing game, already known as a good pass receiving tight end, comes up with the big play.
Well, at this point in his career, he is the finest tight end in the NFL. There is no doubt about that. He's matched up here against Derek Thomas, number 58. Thomas trips a little bit. You can't do that again against a great receiver like, excuse me, like him. He's going to trip every single time like that. Forget it.
As a result, Minnesota in Kansas City territory on a 17-yard pass play. 1st and 10. Ball marked at the 44 of Kansas City. Walker. Back to Wilson. Going up top. Complete to Hassan Jones. And Hassan Jones, if his movement and momentum hadn't been carrying him out of bounds, it was a surefire touchdown.
That is the old-fashioned. Last time you saw that play, it was somewhere in a vacant lot with the good old buddies out there playing football. That's the old flea flicker.
Drawing in the dirt to play.
Watch this. They're going to start this way. Herschel goes that way. He gives out to Anthony Carter. He goes, nah, you get it. You take the ball, Wade. By this time, the defense is perplexed. They don't know what's going on. And Hassan Jones is 10 yards behind all of them. As you can see from that replay, if he could have been able to bear to the right, go downhill a little bit, he's got 6 points.
33-yard pickup, ball marked at the 11 of Kansas City. 3:59 remaining in the first quarter. Vikings threatening. Walker to the left. And dives forward. So Herschel Walker picking up 4 yards, hard-earned yards, pushed out of bounds by Jeff Donaldson. Well, if there was any concern about Minnesota not having any creativity on the offensive front, they certainly showed it the play prior to that.
Oh, they surely have. I mean, this is a new Minnesota offense. It's built to feature that man right there, Herschel Walker. We're going to see him out in the slot as a receiver. He's going to get the ball on traps. He's going to get it on pitches. This is Herschel's offense.
2nd and 6. Clock in motion. Wilson to Walker. Touchdown, Minnesota. Strong block by Jesse Clark and a 6-yard scoring play from Wilson to Walker, and the Vikings are on the scoreboard.
Jerry Burns brought in Tom Moore from Pittsburgh Steelers as the new offensive coordinator. Add a little spice, a little life. Highlight Herschel. Here's a Herschel highlight, and look at that block by the fullback, Jesse Clark, number 33.
And on for the point after. Picked up off of waivers of Donald Igwe-Buike. Named formerly, of course, with the Tampa Bay Bucks. And the point after is good. So Herschel Walker and Igwe-Buike help the Vikes close the gap to 7. A gorgeous September afternoon here in the Midwest. Arrowhead Stadium, near capacity crowd of 78,000. Seeing a good ball game between Kansas City and Minnesota. Kansas City on top 14-7. Vikings finally hit pay dirt. Wilson to Herschel Walker. And Igwe-Buike, one of the knocks against him by Coach Ray Perkins of Tampa was that his kickoffs were not deep enough. Well, no complaining here. McNair deciding not to bring it out, so Kansas City will start 1st and 10 from its own 20. Coming up next here on CBS, men's final and All-American final between Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. And Herschel Walker, a big tennis fan, and who did he pick in that one?
He likes Pete Sampras. He thinks he's got a strong serve. He kept quoting that 120-mile-an-hour serve. He likes him. I disagree. I like Andre Agassi for no other fact that I kind of like the way he dresses. A little bit different. He's not in those pure whites.
And you're also big enough to argue with Herschel. 1st and 10 for the Chiefs. Ball at their own 20. DeBerg to Okoye with a gaping hole, and Okoye up near the 1st down marker. Said that he's doing a much better job of reading his blocks. Not that he really needs them.
When you're a defensive line like Minnesota, you take a side, you do your stunts. You saw that gaping hole. That comes from the defensive tackles, Thomas and Millard crisscrossing. Studwell gets caught in a pile behind him, and it's nothing but Okoye for 10 yards.
They call it a 9-yard pickup, making it 2nd and 1, so Okoye promptly goes out and gets more than the needed yardage. 6-yard pickup, stopped by Mike Merriweather. 2:20 remaining in the first quarter. As you take a look at scores around the National Football League, Detroit on top of Tampa Bay by the same score here.
You see Okoye coming through the line. It's got to be like headbutting a little VW bug. All they see is this red helmet coming at him.
And he's not a vicious guy. He says, I don't want to hurt people, but I will take him another 3 or 4 yards.
I just wish they'd get out of my way.
1st and 10 for the Chiefs. Okoye. 3-yard run to about the 38.
President and General Manager Carl Peterson here in Kansas City really emphasized first down. First down, we've got to get at least 4 to 5 yards because this young offensive line is, well, it's not really that young, but it's not really intact either. Rich Baldinger is playing right tackle. He's the left guard. Winter's a Plan B free agent at left guard, number 65. They don't have their regular unit. They can't put that much pressure on DeBerg.
Okoye, 8 carries for 34 yards. On 2nd down, Okoye dropped. And Mike Merriweather doing a nice job giving some help that time. And you know, as we take a look at the fan trying to apply a little bit of cool to the Kansas City bench, this is exactly the kind of weather conditions the Chiefs were hoping for.
I guess. I mean, I don't think anybody hopes to play in this kind of weather. That turf gets hot. You get those ice towels on your head, the fans, you're fighting over who gets to sit next to the fan.
3rd and 8. Dime defensive package in for the Vikes. 6 DBs. And Randy, I'm sure you've seen enough of that kind of action in your days. The first penalty flag thrown today, but you've seen enough of that.
False start, number 77, offense. 5-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
First time we got to hear Howard Rowe talk today.
This is what's known as offensive linemen starting 5 yards too early. Nobody else moves here but Baldinger and Lutz. The whole right side. Oh, I'm wrong. John on the left side. He's moving too.
3rd and 13. Under 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter. DeBerg out of the shotgun with 4 wideouts. And time. And complete to Rob Thomas for the first down and a flag on the play. Rob Thomas, a 2nd-year player out of Oregon State.
Well, just about the time we say they haven't had any penalties, they jump off sides, and now it looks like we're going to have some defensive pass interference.
Audrey McMillan on the coverage.
Defensive pass interference. Penalty refused. Completed pass at the end. First down.
Steve DeBerg, the quarterback in Kansas City, said this is the hardest time for an offense now with the new 25-second rule to get this ball in play. After a penalty, coaches can't really decide how to get what play to run and what the situations are.
Well, no plays to be run now. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. Chiefs on top, 14-7.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the new generation of Oldsmobiles. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer. Owens Corning Fiberglass, we can help you get a foothold on your energy bills. And by Bud Light, everything else is just a light.
Let's come back to the Kansas City huddle. Bernhard's in.
Kansas City, Missouri, the site of this AFC-NFC battle between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings. The Chiefs winning the action in the first quarter, 14-7. Great defensive plays by the unit of the Chiefs that was ranked number 2 defensively overall in the NFL. First and 10 for the Chiefs out of the I formation. Play action. DeBerg looking to throw it to Bill Jones just beyond his outstretched hand. I'll get it straight. Outstretched hand. You mentioned that DeBerg was an amateur magician. Does that account at all for his great play-action fakes on the field? Because I've heard you guys talk so much about how well he handles the ball.
Well, I think it's got something to do with his hiding the ball from the defensive backs. It's just another thing he does well. It's another example of a great veteran quarterback. Steve's always been burdened with poor teams. He is an excellent quarterback.
2nd and 10. Okoye. No room to the outside, so he goes ahead back to the line of scrimmage. Defense did a good job of stringing him out. Mike Merriweather on the stop. And Randy, you said that's something the defense likes to see, him going east-west.
Even Christian said, I have no business going east and west, and this is why. It really limits his possibilities. If he can't get around the corner, he's not going to cut back, because the further you stretch it, the more defenders you're drawing out there towards you.
Tim Grunhard, the rookie at center from Notre Dame, in there for the Chiefs. On 3rd and 10. 4 wideouts in. DeBerg under pressure, gets rid of it, throwing it in the direction of Emil Harry. And Henry Thomas, along with Al Noga, doing a good job of applying the pressure.
Well, they're calling Steve DeBerg in the grasp there, and Steve's obviously not exactly going along with that call, but you'll see Al Noga right here. Ballninger, 77, tries to lunge, he misses, and there's Al Noga getting his first sack in 1990. Noga says, my goal for this year, I want to be in the Pro Bowl. I need a bunch of sacks to do it.
He had 11.5 last season. Ira Hillary taking it from the 25, and he gets about 3 as Danny Copeland gets down there to drop him. Well, Christian Okoye certainly was intended to be used out on the ground to set up the action. Kansas City looking good in the first quarter. Steve DeBerg, 3 of 4 for 42 yards. And Randy, I tell you, the 14-point production in the first quarter by Kansas City tops its first quarter in all of 1989. So no sluggish start today for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think it's very important to get off to that fast start. They got the turnovers and they plugged them into the end zone. The stat to keep an eye on, Wade Wilson. He's off to a good start. He's leading his team down the field. Minnesota obviously is not fazed by this poor start.
We talked about the heat at the top of the show, and of course it's at least 10 to 15 degrees hotter down on the field. Will that affect the players, and if so, at what point during the game?
I think the only place it really affects is in the lines, offensive line and defensive line. Both teams are relatively deep. I have to give the advantage to Minnesota, though, because Kansas City's depth is all with rookies on the offensive side.
1st and 10 for the Vikes. Ball at the 28. Just underway here in the second quarter. Wilson pumps, throws it, and it's intercepted. And Kansas City takes the ball deep into Minnesota territory. Give it credit to Jeff Donaldson, former starter in the secondary with the Houston Oilers.
This is a good job by Donaldson. You see there in the left center of your screen, number 42, of playing center fielder. This is what a free safety does. He reads with the pump, he comes back. Wade Wilson, not a very good throw. Hassan Jones pays for it with a knock in the chops there. And Donaldson, the Plan B free agent out of Houston, takes the ball up the field. He's got to be a happy camper. He wasn't very happy in Houston with Jerry Glanville. He got out of there. He's here with Marty Schottenheimer and the Chiefs, and they really like him. Granted, Deron Cherry, who's out with a knee injury, is their free safety, but to get this sort of a guy as a Plan B, to be able to step in, has been a real plus.
That was Deron Cherry patting them. First and 10 for the Chiefs. Fake, play whistle dead. And fortunately for DeBerg, as Chris Dolman was all on top of it.
Delay of game, number 17, offense, 5-yard penalty.
And Randy, here's a case again of that quick clock, the 25-second clock that DeBerg says he's having some difficulty getting adjusted to.
Exactly. It's going to be a factor this year. I think for the first 4 to 5 games until these quarterbacks get used to it. But the key right now for Minnesota, they've got to get Kansas City to no points here. The first 2 turnovers resulted in touchdowns. Even a field goal you don't want to give up here. They want to keep the pressure, and they'll be coming after DeBerg.
First and 15. Okoye, the lone back. 3 wideouts in for the Chiefs. Okoye hit 2 and 3 times, still driving down to the 30. Flag on the play. And that'll take it back for Kansas City. Holding call. They bring up a first and 25.
Well, it's always kind of nice if you're a defensive player and your whole goal of this series is to hold them to no points.
Holding, number 65, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
And the culprit that time is Frank Winters.
Your idea is to hold them to no points, and they promptly lose 15 yards in penalties before they get a chance to run a legitimate play. Minnesota now has to concentrate. They have almost half the field to defend.
Specifically, back at the 42 of Minnesota. Same formation, Okoye, the lone back, 3 wideouts. Okoye. And good pursuit by Marquise Bobick.
Bobick starting for Ray Berry, who wears number 50, and Berry was in a contract dispute. And Jerry Burns said, hey, Bobick and Berry would have been even coming into training camp, but Berry wasn't there. Bobick had a good camp, and right now he's our starter, and he stayed with Okoye very, very well, made Okoye go east and west, and we've said it before, Okoye does not want to do that, and frankly does not do that well.
No gain on the play, bringing up a 2nd and 25 situation. Audrey McMillan in, nickel defensive package for the Vikings. DeBerg with time. In and out of the hands of Pete Manley. Little low. Under 13 minutes to play in the first half. Kansas City on top 14-7.
Short of getting a first down here, Kansas City has got to pick up at least 10 yards. They pick up 10 yards, that puts Nick Lowry inside of 50 yards. That's reasonable. Nick Lowry will be almost automatic from inside of 50 yards. He's got 58, 2 58s and a 57 in his career.
Christian Okoye out, Todd McNair in at running back. 4 wideouts out of the shotgun. DeBerg lofted it up top for Stephon Page. And Page wide open. Randy, not to make excuses, but I'm wondering if it looked as if he lost the ball in the sun. He clearly was wide open, and you rarely see that occurring with an 8-year veteran.
Wow. This is what's known as dodging a bullet. Is he open? Look at that. He's almost in the end zone seat before the defender knows where he is. And that's Michael Brim there chasing him. It seemed to have the problem earlier, number 44.
Boy, will Michael Brim be wiping his forehead in film sessions tomorrow.
And if he doesn't, I'm sure Floyd Peters, the defensive coordinator, will help him out.
Kelly Goodburn, 25 punts inside the 20 last year. Placed him 3rd in the league. Fair catch call. Hang time on that one. 4.2. I think the thermometer says it all with the numbers right there, although, of course, direct sunlight hitting that thermometer, but nonetheless, the point is made. It's hot.
I don't see a single player out there standing in the shade, so if that's how hot it is where the sun is, that's how hot it is where the guys are.
With the pads and helmet. 1st and 10 for the Vikes. Walker, ball carry. Runs into Chris Martin. Pushes him back about a half yard. Pickup of 2 on the play. Chris Foot, center for the Vikings.
And now starting, center out of USC, starting for Kurt Laudermilk, who's in a bit of a contract dispute. He and brother-in-law Rich Carlos, the kicker, are locked in the dispute, and as of right now, they are not coming back. And Foot, according to Jerry Burns, is doing yeoman's duty.
2nd and 8. Wilson complete to Carter. And Carter, talk about a sense of where you are, knew how close he was to the first down marker and tried to stretch there as Derek Thomas applied the hit.
Not too many people knew that Anthony Carter was pretty banged up last year. His ribs are a little sore now, but he's healthy, and he's playing very, very well. And like you said, he's a veteran. He's got a real good idea of where he is at all times on the field.
Ooh, take a look at those heels doing the dirty work on Rick Finney's helmet that time.
Yeah, that's football right there now. The heck are those pretty boys catching passes? Those guys kicking and fighting and screaming at each other.
Also the second quarter. Well, it's close enough to require a measurement. Anthony Carter, a happy camper this year. One of a few Vikings players who were upset last year at being underpaid in his mind, and rightfully so. And it's close. That close. Walker and Finney, the backs. Hassan Jones in motion. Finney, first down plus a whole bunch. So Rick Finney with a hamstring injury running strong. For an NFL update, let's check in New York with Greg.
Well, JB, at Detroit, the Bucs have pulled even on Vinny Testaverde's second touchdown pass of the afternoon. This one to rookie Bruce Perkins out of Arizona State, good for 8 yards. It's the Bucs 14 and the Lions 14 in the second quarter. Back to Arrowhead, JB and Randy Croft.
All right, Greg, in a self-imposed time frame to turn Tampa Bay into a winner by Ray Perkins. Gave himself 4 years to do it. Bucs are battling. Same right here as Rick Finney is battling another first down. And Finney dragged out of bounds by Jeff Donaldson as he gets inside the 40 of Kansas City. And here's a guy who was supposed to be suffering from a hamstring injury, and he runs out and picks up 27 yards.
Well, he must have found himself a new hamstring. Take a look at this trap blocking. You want to see a hole here? Randall McDaniel. Quick trap right there on Moss 63. I'm sorry, that was on Neil Smith, number 90. And Finney, this isn't fancy. I mean, he's in the wide, he's wide open. Not like guys are taking shots at him. Those aren't real spiffy moves.
And Steve Jordan down on one knee for the Vikings. 9th year All-Pro out of Brown.
Once again, there's Neil Smith being trapped by Randall McDaniel. And Finney just runs where guys aren't. You know, he couldn't cut it back inside, but heck, there's guys in there. Let's go outside. There's nobody there.
Well, it doesn't look as if they're checking any part of the body, and again, we wonder whether or not it's the heat. We'll find out when we get back.
Right there, the left side of the Minnesota Viking line, Randall McDaniel and Zimmerman, number 65. McDaniel's one of those offensive linemen other offensive linemen don't like. He's cut up, he's built good. It's supposed to be big and sloppy to be an offensive lineman.
Walker in motion on 1st and 10. Finney. And boy, Finney running like a man possessed inside the 30. An 8-yard pickup by Rick Finney. You want to know why they were averaging 6.8 yards on first down. Finney helping that average considerably.
And we talked earlier about first down being so important for Kansas City. Kansas City's had very short distances to go for points or attempted points like last time. Minnesota's driving and being very, very effective on first down, predominantly with the run.
2nd and 2. Carter and Jones to the bottom of the screen. Walker in motion. This is Finney. And Finney trying to tiptoe his way in, stopped by Neil Smith.
If this is a first down, this is one of those plays, and it is a first down. It's one of those plays that's known as ugly but effective. Everybody kind of jumbled into the middle there, and Finney looked like he was just running with his feet, churning there, and getting nowhere, and spun and fell down on the ground and got a first down.
Jerry Burns was hoping not to have to make use of Rick Finney an awful lot, but Finney, 4 carries for 42 yards, making a name for himself. 1st and 10 for the Vikes. Kansas City territory. Wilson with plenty of time, going up top for Steve Jordan. Touchdown, Minnesota. Great protection provided by their front line of Minnesota. 26-yard pass play from Wilson to Jordan.
You'll see Jordan coming off the line of scrimmage on the right-hand side of the screen there. And all of a sudden, right here, he's all by his lonesome. I mean, there's nobody even getting close to this guy. Chris Martin's chasing him. Percy Snow was almost chasing him. Obviously, a broken coverage.
Jordan went off with what we speculate was a little bit of a breathing problem from the heat. Got his breath, came back and scored, and now Donald Igwe-Buike in for his second point after attempt. And we've got a tie ball game. Deadlock in Kansas City. A shootout in the heat here at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. James Brown along with Randy Cross. And all even at 14 apiece in the second quarter. 8:20 remaining in the first half.
Kansas City needs a sustained drive that they generate. They can't rely on mistakes. They have to take advantage of their own ability.
Donald Igwe-Buike kicking off back deep for Kansas City. Nasworthy and Todd McNair. And McNair takes it 3 yards from the end zone and whack, but good. Give the credit to David Braxton. Braxton, a second-year player out of Wake Forest, and that's the kind of special hit I know you get high on.
I like that. Your special teams, it looks like this usually in the preseason, not in the first game. Look at Braxton. He's coming down there just ready for bear. He gets that, lays that helmet on him. Look at him. He's taking the slaps and congratulations.
Jerry Burns said all he needs is experience, but I'm sure he likes that kind of experience.
Look at Floyd Peters and say, Coach, I could do that on defense too. And Floyd will tell him, don't get excited, kid. Just sit down.
15 more to go. First and 10. Ball from the 12. Okoye. Still on his feet after being hit, and Okoye picks up an extra 7 with the effort. Called it an 8-yard gain by Christian Okoye for the first down.
Now here's a run that'll go on the Christian Okoye highlight film. Stopped by Fullington right there for basically a yard. Well, maybe stopped. Not stopped at all. Okoye decides that's not a good enough hit. I need at least 3 or 4 more yards.
And who was stopped that time? Well, this time it is Okoye who stopped. A lot of help given by a body that weighs 270 pounds in the form of Henry Thomas.
Henry Thomas, in my opinion, is the most underrated inside lineman in the NFL. This guy, game after game, plays great, but he's stuck in the same situation as Al Noga is. Noga says, I want to go to the Pro Bowl. Well, the reality of this situation is on the other side of the line, they've got those two, they got Millard and Dolman, who are perennial All-Pros, and these two poor guys get ignored. Maybe that's why Thomas is wearing that colored face shield. He got that dark one. He wants to make the little attention, get that Darth Vader look.
Dolman says he ought to get part of his paycheck to Henry Thomas. He helps to make it look good. 3rd and 3. 4 wideouts in for the Chiefs. The Bird going for Page again. This time Page has it for the first down. Up near midfield. And the man that Page was working on for that 29-yard pickup, Michael Brim.
Stephon Page is starting to feel very comfortable going against Michael Brim, and DeBerg lays his ball on the perfect spot. You want to put it right over the shoulder, right there. Nice throw by DeBerg, and they're trying to look for Brim and look for more of that from DeBerg and Page. If they find somebody they think they can pick on, these two veterans will go right after him.
One of the best possession receivers in the NFL, Stephon Page, 8-year vet out of Fresno State. On first down, Okoye looking for a hole. Only a 1-yard pickup before being stopped by Merriweather.
Right now, Minnesota's doing what they have to do against Christian Okoye. Last couple plays, they've gang tackled him. You've seen 3 guys, 2 defensive linemen and a linebacker banging on this big guy, and that's what you have to do. Don't let poor little Fullington, number 29, come up here and try to expect him to tackle him one-on-one. You got to have that front 7 jumping all over him.
Fullington soaking wet, weighs 186. 2nd and 8. 5:55 remaining in the first half. Deadlocked at 14 apiece. DeBerg has to get rid of it quickly because of the pressure of that Minnesota front four, Henry Thomas and John Randall. There is a flag on the far side of the field. And it looks to be against Minnesota.
In talking with the wide receivers from Kansas City, they knew they had to get tough against these cornerbacks.
I got defense, number 47, holding, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And I'll tell you, that's called on Joey Browner, and when he holds, he won't let you go. Awfully strong.
Now watch these guys. They want to jam them. They want to be physical. Now the penalty's on the other side of the field, but look at this. This is past 5 yards. They're still bapping them. They're still pulling on them. Kansas City receivers know they're going to do that, but they know they have to get away quick so DeBerg can get the ball to him. Steve won't have that long to throw.
1st and 10 for the Chiefs at the 46 of Minnesota. Out of the eye. Okoye. So about the 44, called a pickup of 2. Henry Thomas and Mark Duzbabic.
That was a nice lead block there on that play by Bill Jones, number 43 out of Southwest Texas State. And last night, in talking to Carl Peterson, he goes, well, look at our fullbacks. We got Okoye, he's 263. We got Bill Jones, we say he's 220, he's 235. Barry Word, we say he's 225, he's 238. They've got some forces at that position.
First time I've heard of a team actually having lower weight numbers.
Everybody does it.
Play action, DeBerg. Overthrows the intended receiver, Pete Manley. Fans wanted a holding call, no such.
I don't know if they wanted the holding call as much as they'd like to get their hands on Manley for stopping 3/4 of the way through his route there. Steve DeBerg gets some great protection here. He's not going to get this long to throw more than 3 or 4 times. Nice fake to Okoye. Look at him. He's waiting. He's waiting. He throws it up. Noga's at least getting within 2 or 3 yards of him, but Manley stopped. He could have had a reception.
3rd and 8. Bird walking it up top. Incomplete. The intended receiver was Rob Thomas. Audrey McMillan with tight coverage.
You know, Rob Thomas is the only receiver that Kansas City has with legitimate speed, and they're running this fade pattern, just lopping it up there. So, you know, a couple years ago, that might have been called pass interference. But one thing to really concentrate when you saw that was the receiver and the defensive back were looking back at the ball. They can bump or do whatever they want as long as they're both looking at the ball.
Kelly Goodburn, 4th-year player out of Emporia State, on to punt for Kansas City. Ira Hillary back for Minnesota. And fair catch at the 19. 24-yard punt by Kelly Goodburn.
And the crowd obviously doesn't think much of that 24-yard punt.
But he's accurate, getting it inside the 20 again.
Yeah, but he was only 23 yards away from getting it inside the 20.
He'll take it. Good slate of action coming your way next week here on CBS Sports. Chicago at Green Bay, Phoenix at Philadelphia. And then at 4 o'clock Eastern time, doubleheader action, Washington at San Fran, Giants at Dallas, and New Orleans at Minnesota. 1st and 10, play action. Wilson looking for Carter. Carter adjusted his route, got his hands on it, but dropped it. And Kevin Ross was with him step for step, but a great adjustment on the part of Anthony Carter.
That was a Pro Bowl play, period. It was a Pro Bowl adjustment by Anthony Carter. And watch here, Carter should have this ball. Look at that. He reaches up, he grabs that shoulder, and Kevin Ross makes that left arm come down, and he never has a chance to get the other hand on it, so he can pull that ball in. Great play by both people.
What a matchup. 4:22 remaining in the first half. Walker. Gain of about 2.5 on the play. Bino Hackett on the stop. Well, I'll tell you one thing, Kevin Ross hasn't been with the squad long. Came back the last day of the preseason, so talk about getting in shape on the job.
Well, he's worried about them coming after him. He's really worried about them coming after him with the guy that's across from him right now, number 81, Anthony Clark.
And they did. 3rd and 7. Nickel defensive package in for the Chiefs. Wilson looking for Carter, throws it too hard. And the Vikings will have to punt it away.
Here comes Anthony Carter. He's coming inside. You know what's inside? Whoa, just off his fingertips, but inside are linebackers. Look at Chris Martin, number 57. He knows he should have caught that thing. I don't know if he was thinking about Chris Martin smacking him right after he caught it, but in the back of his mind, it was lurking back there.
Thinking about those ribs. That don't mean the kind you eat.
Linebackers eat them.
Harry Newsom on the punt for the Vikings. And he creates it and has it blocked partially. And Kansas City's Maz Worthing on top of it at the 48 of Minnesota. Chris Martin, great play by Martin to deflect that one.
Great play by Martin. But I tell you what, if I'm the Kansas City coach and I got Naz Worthing falling on that punt right there, I got to bring him to the sideline and point a few things out to him. Stay away from that ball. You don't have to touch that. They're not going to pick that up and run with it. All you can do is something bad. You can lose it on a fumble. That's all that can happen. Great play by Chris Martin. Look at him. Looks like he comes off the corner. Right there. Runs right through that block. Right up the middle. I'm sorry. It wasn't the corner. That ball comes spinning off there. They're lucky Chris Martin didn't smother that ball and knock it back towards the end zone.
Rob Thomas to the near side for Kansas City on 1st and 10. Play action again. And Noga forced Steve DeBerg to get rid of that one quickly. Did not fool him at all. Intended receiver was Alfredo Roberts.
Here he comes, and Steve DeBerg knows, oh, the time she is going away fast. I better get rid of this thing. Well, that's not completely. It's a combination. He threw him down a little bit, and DeBerg just went down. I mean, that wasn't really not a knockdown. It was kind of a mutual consent.
DeBerg's no dummy. Okoye and Bill Jones in the backfield on 2nd down. Okoye driving within 2 yards of the 1st down marker. An 8-yard pickup will bring up 3rd and 2.
Now watch the defenders. They've got to honor Steve DeBerg on this bootleg. He gives the ball to Okoye, but watch Merriweather and everybody. They're making positive. Steve DeBerg doesn't have that ball before they flow over, and that only takes missing 1 or 2 guys in the flow of the defense to give Okoye a chance of breaking the tackle.
2:50 remaining in the first half. Tie ball game, 14 all. Okoye, the deep back. Okoye, the runner. And did he lose the ball? He did indeed, and Minnesota looks to have recovered it. So Minnesota comes up with a good defensive play. Mike Merriweather recovering the fumble. And the Vikings will take over with 2:31 remaining in the first half.
Christian Okoye was on the top of the list in the NFL of fewest fumbles per carry. What happens? It's the opener. He's excited. He's getting yards. Yeah, he goes and fight for that extra yard, and invariably, that's when it happens. He's looking over at the markers. He wants to reach and just go for that 1st down. Somebody comes along and knocks that thing out.
Can't fault the effort. You talk about one of the more sure hands, 1 fumble per 48 attempts. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Ball at the 45. Wilson going up top for Jordan again and overthrows the intended receiver, Steve Jordan. Now, I mentioned earlier, that Steve Jordan went to the sidelines thinking that perhaps it might have had something to do with the heat. You eyeballed it a little better. Actually, he was, in fact, hit in the face. But he's got his vision back.
He's got his vision back plenty. He's lucky to have a guy like Wade Wilson, who right now is hot. You know, I mentioned at the top of the game that if Wade Wilson didn't play well, Jerry Burns would not hesitate to take him out. I don't know if it was so much playing well. He relies on his quarterbacks to provide the spark. Right now, Wade Wilson's providing the spark, and as long as that spark's there, Wade Wilson will be there.
2nd and 10. Hassan Jones in motion. Bill Moss all on top of him, limiting him to just a 2-yard pickup. Bill Moss was a little frustrated with having been moved out of the nose tackle spot, but playing well as a right end.
He's playing very well. It's not a nose guard. You get out there, you get away from people, you can move around more. We got the 2-minute warning coming up.
And we're here at the 2-minute warning mark, all tied at
notification. 2 minutes. Clock is right.
Even at 14 apiece, 2 minutes remaining in the first half. You take a look at Bill Moss, and you were starting to talk about how well he is making the adjustment to the end.
Well, he's a very emotional player, too. And, you know, Howie Long and Keith Millard said, hey, look, you've always been a great guy at shedding blocks. That really comes in handy at end. Be an end and be a great end. He's an emotional leader for this team. And it was obvious from the way Kansas City started, they were as high as a kite. And Minnesota made some mistakes, and they let Kansas City get in this game. But Minnesota now has come back with the smooth, the poise, and the veteran players and starting to take control of this ballgame.
We're faced with a 3rd and 9 here. All at their own 46. Wilson with time. And a flag on a play as Wilson was throwing for Hassan Jones. Kevin Ross was on top of Hassan Jones, literally.
Well, Kevin Ross is, methinks he doth protest too much. He's celebrating a little bit there, and it would appear that the ref might have thought he pushed Anthony Carter or Hassan Jones before the ball got there.
Ruling on the field. No flag. Ball was not catchable. 4th down.
Well, if the ball wasn't catchable, then I'd say that flag wasn't throwable.
I think Kevin Ross would like to have you as his attorney explaining that one to the coaching staff as well.
We're going to see here right at the very end, as this ball's getting here, see by now that the flag is out. What happened right before then, Kevin Ross and Hassan Jones were sort of pushing each other back and forth. Hassan might have pushed him first, but the official saw Ross. If that ball had been lower and catchable, it would have been a penalty.
Harry Newsom on the punt, back deep for Kansas City, Naz Worthing. Flag on the play. And the play will be whistled dead.
False start. 93. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
John Randall, the young defensive end out of Texas A&I, and these are the kind of mistakes you start to see in critical times early in the season. Later in the season, things like this don't happen quite as often. You've got the emotion, you've got the excitement happening. A guy like Randall, you know, he's ready to go. He wants to play defense, but if I can't play defense, I'm going to make me a tackle.
The coaching staff is high on Randall. Excellent-looking rookie, brother of Irvin Randall of the Tampa Bay Bucks.
And extremely fast. 6'1", 245, 250 pounds. Plays behind Al Noga and is pressuring Noga.
Newsom gets it away. Thomas knocked him down, but no penalty called as Worthing dances for about 4 or 5 yards. 3.5 hang time on that 41-yard punt. And credited with the 7-yard return, R.J. McMillan on the stop. Coming up at halftime, Greg and Terry with all the scores and highlights. And the CBS News special report with an update on the Helsinki Summit. That's coming your way in just a few moments. And the NFL Today halftime report. Well, Randy, just to expand on that point a bit more, Minnesota really did, in fact, look to be in a malaise in the first quarter. Bounced back strong with some creative offense and strong defense.
And this is a key series for both teams. Kansas City has got to throw the ball because they want points right here. Those big linemen will be coming after Steve DeBerg.
Berg back on first down. Throws it complete for the first down at the 40-yard line. And DeBerg showing a good arm as he finds Pete Manley.
You get a veteran quarterback like Steve DeBerg, that's all you really want in a 2-minute situation like this. You get the clock running. The team has confidence. It's not like one of these rookies that they pay $8 million to and throw them in as starters that don't have a clue in this situation. Steve's been there.
4 wide outs in. DeBerg throws it complete to McNair. And McNair running it out of bounds smartly.
That's a veteran play right there. McNair had a choice. He actually probably could have gotten more yards by going inside. He had Grunhard, 61, out there in front of him. The rookie was doing a good job, and McNair got out of bounds to stop the clock.
Picked up 3 on the play. Marty Schottenheimer says Minnesota, in his estimation, has the most talent of any team in the NFL. 2nd and 7. DeBerg going up top, looking for Manley. In the meantime, Noga applying all kinds of pressure and a hit to DeBerg.
We're going to see here on this replay coming up what's known as a throw and hope by Steve DeBerg. Al Noga, their 99, is going to be all over his face. He comes screaming up the middle, and Steve DeBerg is going to be going. And what he did was he comes up here, Steve goes to throw, and he gets about halfway through his motion and says, I'm going to get hit. So he says, the heck with looking at the receiver. I'll throw this thing as far downfield as I can get it. Watch this. He's turning around. He doesn't care where the ball's going. He's going to turn his back so he doesn't get his face hit.
Stephon Page and Emil Harry to the near side. Goldman with pressure, complete to McNair. McNair has the first down. And roped down by Mike Merriweather. And the clock shows 49 seconds remaining in the first half, and a timeout called
Kansas City
by the Chiefs. And I think that hand signal there, a little bit of air, a little bit of a breather. A little bit of Gatorade.
He's either calling for water. I always like to put both hands up if you wanted more air in your lungs. But that's interesting. Maybe he only needs it half as bad as he will in the second half.
I'd like to take my public and all deal with the academy.
The key piece in Carl Peterson's organization, as he said it, Marty Schottenheimer, as you take a look at Jerry Burns at 63 years of age, the oldest coach in the National Football League. Been coaching for 40 years.
Now, you don't think it isn't a little hot out here? Look at these guys. Immediately go down to one knee. They start fighting for the guy that's got the water and the wet towels, and they're breathing. The only bad thing about getting down on one knee on that field right now, that's the hottest place you could possibly go. The best place would be to go sit up on the wall on the side or something. Get up away from that astroturf.
Probably takes too much energy to get over there and back. 1st and 10. Ball at the 43 of Minnesota. DeBerg, quick out to McNair. And McNair down about a yard and a half shy. A little less than that for the first down. Michael Brim on the stop. We'll call it 2nd and 1. And the clock is running. 25 seconds remaining in the first half. Back to McNair again, and McNair, I think, anticipating the hit of Carl Lee first before seeing the ball incompletely.
This is a good pointer for you young football players out there. Now watch McNair. You're going to see the ball come right at him. He goes like, look at the head. See that head turn right there before the ball ever got there? He says, no problem. The ball's coming. I'll catch it. Now, where's this guy that's going to hit me? You don't look away until that ball hits your hand. And that's the man right there, number 39, Carl Lee, who laid the wood to him.
Pro Bowl player last season, Carl Lee, though he had only 2 interceptions. 3rd and 1. First down, complete to Rob Thomas.
And the Chiefs are now in field goal range with Nick Lowry.
Timeout. Kent.
There you go. Pour it down the back. He'll pour it down the front. I'm ready for a little water. And here we'll see DeBerg. DeBerg is running this 2-minute offense to perfection. He's taking what the defense is going to give him. He says, look, guys, just sit down in the gaps, sit down in the holes in the defense. Let's get Nick Lowry a chance to kick a field goal. There's the big lineman, Dave Lutz, number 72. He's doing something unusual today, folks. He's playing with knee braces, big knee braces on both legs. I played with one, and that made me slow. I mean, if I'd have played with 2, I'd have been a statue.
As a matter of fact, the players were calling him Robo Lineman with the 2 knee pads. Season premiere of college football on CBS will be coming your way next week. Pittsburgh and Oklahoma will be the first half of the doubleheader. And then 9 o'clock Eastern time, it'll be Michigan and Notre Dame. And we'll also debut college football today. Andrea Joyce will be in the studio.
Now, if the Kansas City Chiefs can be economical about the time here and make these quick patterns, they might be able to get 2 plays in before they get a field goal.
You see the time remaining in the first half. Score all tied at 14 apiece. DeBerg throws it complete to McNair again. So McNair working overtime and the clock running.
Better get a timeout.
2 seconds left. And the clock is stopped with 2 seconds remaining. Boy, you couldn't get any tighter than that.
Hey, that's no problem. Steve's just standing there saying, look, we got 2 seconds left. What are you guys worried about?
Well, 70,000 plus were holding their collective breath.
When Steve was at San Francisco when I was there for 4 years, his nickname was Ice. The guy was cool. I mean, nothing really bothered this guy. It didn't really bother him that, you know, Joe Montana's behind me. No problem. They went to Denver after that, but he didn't worry about it.
And then Ice went to the Heat in Tampa.
That's right. We had Vinny Testaverde there. Now he's come here, and this is not an unsettled quarterback situation, folks, here. As you can see, from his leadership and his ability, Steve DeBerg is the quarterback here in Kansas City.
So Marty Schottenheimer will call on Nick Lowry to do the chores. One of the most accurate field goal kickers in the NFL. As a matter of fact, number 1. There's so much talk about Morton Anderson. This guy here.
That's right. You know, Lowry takes a lot of that stuff personal. They talk about Morton Anderson. They talk about these various kickers. This guy hardly ever kicks indoors, and he kicks over 75% of his field goals.
This will be a 43-yarder and 69 of 93 from that range on his career. Kelly Goodburn to hold it. It's up. And it's good. So Nick Lowry laying hold to the title as the most accurate. Boots Kansas City in front to end the first half. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this message and a word from McNair from the 7. Across the 20 to about the 26-yard line. So Todd McNair putting in yeoman's work out here in the heat, stopped by Audrey McMillan and Steve DeBerg. Back out to start the second half, and as Randy mentioned, despite the impressive numbers in the first half, Kansas City's game is on the ground.
You know, like I said, that is Kansas City's quarterback right there, Steve DeBerg. You can't afford to get him beat up continually this early in the year. You've got to get that running game going.
Rob Thomas and Stephon Page, the wide receivers, to the near side. Christian Okoye out of the eye. Play action complete to Jones. And Jones dragged out of bounds after picking up 2. Bill Jones was the other pleasant surprise in training camp for Marty Schottenheimer. Second leading rusher with 57 yards on 13 carries during the preseason. And of course, the first one was Barry Word, another running back who showed extremely well in the 2 preseason games he played. 2nd and 8. Stephon Page in motion. Okoye. And Christian Okoye showing a little movement of foot. The big fella dancing Buffalo style.
Joey Browner got him down by the shoes and was going to try to hold on to him, and that's saying something. He pulls away from Joey Browner. Joey Browner, black belt, great martial artist, unbelievably strong hands. The guy can hold on to anything, well, almost anything.
Including an Okoye. Christian Okoye picking up 3 on the play. Brings up a 3rd and 6. 4 wide outside for the Bird. Noga forces him to put it up quickly. Incomplete. So the Bird had to get rid of that one quickly in the direction of Rob Thomas. Carl Lee providing the coverage, but give the credit to Al Noga.
That was an example right there of you just bring too many guys. You know, they didn't keep it back in that time to help pass block. They brought 6 people. You've only got 5 linemen. Somebody's going to come free. It was Al Noga, and Steve DeBerg couldn't stay in that pocket that extra half a second it would have taken to hit Thomas.
So 3 and out for Kansas City. Kelly Goodburn on to punt. Ira Hillary back for the Vikes. Goodburn, not a good kick. But a good roll. A Kansas City roll. As a matter of fact, Randy, I would say that's an excellent roll. All the way back to the 11. A frustrated Goodburn, but statistically it will look good to the tune of 58 yards.
You know, one thing I think we all have to keep track of right here, James, it's hot. You're talking about a couple of pretty physical football teams. Guys are going to start to wear down. Now we're looking at field position. Very key to have that kind of a kick. Puts Minnesota way back there. If they can hold them without a first down, Minnesota kicks the ball. They're going to get the ball deep in their own territory, around the 40 or so, and look a lot better than starting way back by the 15.
1st and 10 from its own 11. Anthony Carter to the near side. This is Hassan Jones in motion. Play action. Wilson. Complete to about the 12-yard line. Gain of about 6. Herschel Walker showing his pass receiving abilities. Will make that Hassan Jones.
It's got to be credit. It's got to be a testament to Hassan Jones' toughness, having that scope on his knee, the way he's playing in this heat on AstroTurf. I know the muscles in your leg get a little jelly about the 3rd quarter, 4th quarter in this kind of heat. And if your knee's not feeling good to start with, it's got to hurt.
2nd and 4. Walker and Finney, the backs. This is Walker, the ball carrier, and Walker blasts for the first down and a bunch more. Well, I gave the first catch to Walker, and indeed it was Jones, so Walker decided to come back through with the run, and an impressive one in that. 19-yard carry by Herschel Walker.
Great job by Wolfley there, number 73. The guard kicks out the first force, and there goes Walker. All he needs is a crack. Donaldson jumps on him there at the end. It's kind of a unnecessary thing, but Herschel, nice run. You see 9 carries, 35 yards. That first down average for Minnesota is getting to be quite impressive.
1st and 10 from the 31 to Anthony Carter. Low, incomplete. And Kevin Ross literally right on top of Anthony Carter. So Kevin Ross getting a good workout, getting in shape on the field. Derek Thomas shaking up a little bit. That time comes off the field. He's replaced by Lewis Cooper, 60-year player out of Western Carolina. 2nd and 10 for Minnesota. 11:38 remaining in the third quarter. 17-14 ball game. Chiefs on top. Walker. And Walker runs into Dan Saliamua. Pickup of about 2. Saliamua, interesting job in the offseason.
Pouring concrete in Phoenix. I mean, if these guys are complaining about it being hot here, how about pouring concrete on a skyscraper in Phoenix? But that play right there, JB, was the same play. They ran to the right, they ran left. Louis Cooper in for Derek Thomas, number 55, who was recently signed, made a great play there, turning it in. Saliamua was able to stop it.
3rd and 8. Anthony Carter to the near side. Steve Jordan in motion. And it's complete. This to Herschel Walker. And Herschel Walker picks up the first down, an 11-yard pass play from Wilson to Walker. You know, there's been a lot made about how the coaching staff of Minnesota watched a lot of Herschel Walker's previous footage with Dallas and indeed in college and the USFL to see how to free him up. Herschel says, hey, just play me.
Yeah, he says, it's not like I couldn't run with the ball in Dallas, or I couldn't catch the ball in Dallas, or block in Dallas. And Wade Wilson gives him the ball perfect right here. The only problem that has been the criticism so far on emphasizing Herschel is where's Anthony Carter?
1st and 10. All at midfield. Wilson going up top. And was looking for Carter. Covered by J.C. Pearson. Well, Randy, as far as Tom Moore is concerned, Herschel Walker's,
there's Tom right there,
being a dangerous asset is supposed to help to free up Anthony Carter.
I think so. Maybe early in the year, they're going to have to get established, and Tom Moore's done a great job with Jerry Burns there of remolding this offense. Maybe they need the time to emphasize Herschel and then work Anthony back into the offense.
Tom Moore certainly knows how powerful Herschel Walker is. 2nd and 10, I formation. Walker. Herschel Walker stopped by J.C. Pearson and helped by Kevin Porter.
And Moore, we talked about Moore knowing how hard Herschel Walker can hit. He should know. Game in Pittsburgh, opening game of 1988 season. Herschel runs a sweep. Bam! Runs over Tom Moore's son. Flattens him. 2nd quarter, runs a sweep in the same place. Bam! Runs over Tom Moore. Flattens him too. And he looked up at Herschel and said, you okay?
And Moore was hurt for 3 weeks afterwards. Complete to Anthony Carter for the first down. So Anthony Carter, not wearing the protective padding for his bruised ribs, comes up with a 6-yard pass catch and a first down for Minnesota, and the Vikes continue to drive.
Important observation here, James. I ran into Mike Lynn in the hallway here during halftime, and Mike looked at me and he said, hey, it looks like they're wearing down before we are. 2nd quarter, they seem to get more tired than we did in this heat. I have to agree with them right now. Minnesota's looking much more physical, and Kansas City's looking like they're starting to wear down.
Well, Chris Doman says it can't be any hotter here, only 300 miles away from Minneapolis. Maybe right. Wilson with time. Complete to Hassan Jones, and Jones avoids a hard-charging Jeff Donaldson as he picks up the first down on a 12-yard pass play. So Minnesota looking sharp on this drive.
They really are. They're running the ball effectively. They're taking these quick plays inside. It's a timing offense they're trying to put in now with these quick plays. Watch Donaldson come in here. Hassan catches the ball. Donaldson's going to take his head off, but he just ducks in time. Now that's a smart veteran wide receiver.
10th play of this drive. Longest of the game. Vikings in Kansas City territory. This is Finney dancing and picking his way through for about 3. We'll call it 4. Pittsburgh being blanked by Montreal. Of course, the Bucks trying to hold on to that comfortable lead. Oakland out your way, doing a nice job.
The A's are a powerhouse. I still can't believe they got William McGee and Harold Baines. I mean, it's just not even fair.
Rich get richer. On second down, Wilson with time to Herschel Walker. And Walker drags Kevin Porter for another couple of yards. And a first down inside the 10, a 13-yard pass play. Now this drive, you talked about field position, Randy, started at the 12.
Exactly, and they're moving the ball well, and they're going to take a clip of this drive here. It's a nice tackle by Kevin Porter, but they're going to take a clip of this drive and show it to their offense on Monday and say, guys, this is what our new offense is supposed to look like every time we have the ball.
First and goal, ball on the 8.
Time for Anthony Carter.
We go to Walker instead, and Walker bowls his way over for a Vikings touchdown. An 8-yard pass play from Wilson to Walker, and the Vikings regain the lead.
Well, they set him up with short passes to the wide receiver, softened him up, and just kept giving it to Herschel right, Herschel left, and Herschel for a touchdown. Great job by Rick Finney right out there blocking, and Wade Wilson gives you a little reaction. Who says old veterans don't get emotional?
Donald Igwe-Buike on for his third point after. And it's good. And the guy who has been perfect in point afters throughout his career. 21-17, Minnesota on top. In 11 games last season with the Vikes, Herschel Walker caught only 1 touchdown. He's caught 2 through 3 quarters of the game today. So Herschel Walker didn't seem to be upset last night and talking about how the press was speculating on how he ought to be used, whether it's out of the eye, whether he doesn't run well in a split back formation. Should he catch the ball? He says, folks, play me any way you want to. I can do the job.
Well, he knows the press doesn't call plays and the press doesn't start people to do anything else, so he doesn't pay much mind to that.
Genuinely.
You know, it's interesting, though, James. We've heard about the clock being sped up, less time in the game. You know, Marty Schottenheimer was complaining about, that means less plays, which probably means less points. Well, folks, there's 6 minutes and 53 seconds left in the third quarter, and we've had 38 points scored already in this defensive
battle. Igwe-Buike to kick off for the Vikes. Asworth and Todd put in their back for the Chiefs. And McNair decides to down it. So Kansas City will start at its own 20. Well, I talked at the top of the show about 2 superstar running backs, and take a look at the numbers.
Well, Herschel's doing what you expect. You might expect his receiving yards maybe be a little higher, but he's doing a little bit of everything and a lot of scoring. Okoye, on the other hand, no yards receiving and no touchdowns so far. I know the touchdown part's a little surprising. The receiving yards, man. Steve DeBerg told us a story. He goes, I coach my son's Pop Warner team. They say, how do I learn to catch? He goes, well, don't catch like Christian Okoye. He lets it bounce off his chest, and then he catches the ball.
He catches it best when handed off to him, as he did there, as he takes it across the 20 for about a 2-yard pickup. And Alfredo Roberts down on the turf, tight end for Kansas City, who was starting today in place of the normal starter, Jonathan Hayes, who's out with the shoulder problem. So not a good-looking sight at all for Kansas City. We'll be back in just a moment.
Well, don't catch like Christian Okoye. He lets it bounce off his chest, and then he catches the ball.
He catches it best when handed off to him, as he did there, as he takes it across the 20 for about a 2-yard pickup. And Alfredo Roberts down on the turf, tight end for Kansas City, who was starting today in place of the normal starter, Jonathan Hayes, who's out with the shoulder problem. So not a good-looking sight at all for Kansas City. We'll be back in just a moment.
We're back here in Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City with the score Minnesota Vikings 21, Kansas City 17. And the story so far is that Minnesota's dominating first downs. Marty Schottenheimer said, we got to win first downs. Right now, they're way behind.
2nd and 8 for the Chiefs. Nickel defensive package in for the Vikes. Play action to Dante Whitaker, and Whitaker picks up the first down across the 35 to about the 38-yard line. Now, Dante Whitaker is the last tight end on the roster right now, of course, with Jonathan Hayes being out and Alfredo Roberts having been injured.
Little play action. They bite on the fake. Whitaker goes with the action, and the ball's delivered perfectly. And to Whitaker's credit, he hasn't played much. He held on to the ball well. Now watch this game, this fake. Does that look like a run? He's got the ball. It must be the ball. Nope, he doesn't. Great fake by DeBerg.
Whitaker, second-year player out of Mississippi Valley State. Stephon Page in motion. Okoye on first down. And roped down by Scott Studwell, the 14-year veteran. And DeBerg slow getting up. There is a flag on the play.
That would have to be roughing the passer. Yep, that's what it is. They took a heck of a cheap shot on Steve DeBerg right there, away from the ball.
Personal foul. Number 99. Defense. 15 yards. First down.
That's Al Noga, third-year player out of Hawaii. Assessed the penalty.
Okay, now here comes Noga right here. DeBerg obviously is faked. He's away from the ball. Now watch Noga smack him right here. The ball's gone. That's not necessary. I know you play defense, but you got to use your head sometimes.
Oh, that penalty. Figuratively that time, not literally, huh? Ball in Kansas City territory. And Okoye, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Game tackled by Minnesota. The charge that time led by Mike Merriweather.
You know, Minnesota's getting a little bit tired of seeing all these fakes. Keith Millard just came right clean through in the middle of the line, swung at Okoye like he just wanted to hit him, didn't know he had the ball, and took off for Steve DeBerg. So even the good ones get faked out every once in a while. And that, ladies and gentlemen, right there, number 75, Keith Millard is the best defensive lineman in the league right now.
McNair out as a receiver. Christian Okoye in the back on second down. And DeBerg has his pass batted down by Keith Millard. Well, Millard showing his frustration in a healthy way.
Well, that's right. You know how you block Keith Millard as a former offensive lineman? You get him, you grab him, and you hope you got two people on him. And Lutz right here, he almost puts Grenhard and Lutz. Good timing. Watch this jump. Well, I mean, there was two bricks worth underneath his shoes, but he's been out there all day long. That's a pretty good jump. And cuts off the entire passing lane for DeBerg and swats the ball right back in his face.
Keith Millard, the defensive MVP of the league last year, 18 sacks on the season. 3rd and 9. 4 wideouts in for the Chiefs. DeBerg throws it low to Stephon Page, who had to reach down to the top of his knees to try to haul that one in with pressure.
Steve DeBerg's not real happy right now. The receivers have got to hold on to the ball. It is critical for them to hold on to the ball. This is not a good enough offense in the Kansas City Chiefs that they can afford to make mistakes. They've got to be perfect.
Do you assess blame in that situation, or does it make any difference?
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The ball's on the ground.
I got you.
You know, he's just mad about him throwing the ball low, as Stephon Page just about not.
And I'm sure that's the way Schottenheimer looks at it too. Kelly Goodburn back to punt to Ira Hillary. Hillary signaling for the fair catch at the 13-yard line. 4.6 hang time on that punt by Goodburn, a 33-yard punt. And that ought to be one whale of a final, an All-American final coming up after football. Our score here in Kansas City. Vikes on top, 21-17, 4:31 remaining in the third quarter. Don't forget to tune in to CBS tomorrow. With previews, upcoming fall shows, Uncle Buck and Lenny. 2 excellent comedies you won't want to miss. They'll be coming your way tomorrow right here on CBS. Out of the I formation on first down for the Vikes. Walker with room. The first down and more. Kevin Ross takes him out of bounds. 19-yard run by Herschel Walker.
Now this is Herschel Walker at his best. I formation, cutting back. Watch his shot. Herschel gives Kevin Ross. Welcome back, Kev. I know it hasn't been quite a week, but here's a shoulder for you to chew on a little bit. Now, right about now, I think Kevin's ready to take that long undershirt off.
And a little Bengay on his chest. First and 10 for the Vikes. Ball at their 34. Walker lunges forward. 2.5 yards. We'll call it 3. Chris Martin on the stop. Take a look at Kevin Ross. We were just visited up here in the booth by his 74-year-old grandmother. I'm sure she felt a little pain on that hit he took from Herschel Walker. Minnesota doing the job.
109 yards to 23 for Kansas City. That's, in most terms, is referred to as dominance.
I think that's a fair word. 2nd and 6. Wilson. Complete to Herschel Walker. You talk about a pair of hands. Nice lead pass from Wilson to Walker. 32 yards. Well, can Herschel catch?
I don't know. I know Herschel can. I don't know if Bo can, but Herschel can catch the ball. We're not going to see him at first yard on the left side of your screen. Watch him lay out for this ball. He's the only one that can see it. Defender is not turned around, doesn't know when the ball's coming. Nice catch. And watch his pressure by Wilson by Salamua. Throws him to the ground. You know, a great look at that quarterback. He never took his eyes off his receiver. He had to look down between shoes and legs at the end there, but he still saw it.
And he's not winded. Ball at the 31 of Kansas City. Jesse Clark running hard. Good second effort. Gang tackle by the Chiefs, led by Dino Hackett. 4-yard pickup, hard 4 yards.
Kansas City needs a big play right here if they intend on staying in this ballgame. Minnesota will grind them into the ground right here, settle for a field goal to go up by 7 at 24-17, or take it in for a touchdown. Kansas City can't let them score here if they intend on winning this game.
Vikes doing a good job of grinding out the clock. 1:38 remaining. 2nd and 6. Alan Rice and Jesse Clark, the backs in the I formation. This is Alan Rice. One of the questions you asked Herschel yesterday, he's such a modest young man. You ask him, does it make him feel good to know that wherever he is on the field, he's got to be viewed as a threat by the opposition? He took it all in stride.
Yeah, he says, I'm very proud. I guess I'm good. My goal when I started playing sports was to be a great athlete. And I guess that means I'm a great athlete. I mean, he knows he can do it all. Look at that. Washington, 28-0. Mark Ripien has thrown 3 touchdowns.
And Alvin Walt with a 38-yard interception. Return for a touchdown. And a good hard run out of the backfield by Jesse Clark again.
You know, in joking with Herschel Walker about that, too, we were joking with him about, Herschel, you run good, you catch good. How's your blocking? He kind of smiles and goes, well, it's getting better.
Honest about everything as you take a look at the clock. 26 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, and the Vikes on top.
The officials want to take a look at it here and see exactly how far they have to go for this first down. You have to look to see Herschel Walker back in the game here. They've been giving him a little bit of a breather.
Bernsey was in good spirits last night when we talked to him.
Oh, he was. I mean, he feels good about his team. He feels great about his defense. and he's confident that Moore and the rest of his coaches will bring this offense around. And it's 4th and short, and I look for Bernsey to go for it here. They might not get a chance to get this play off. They might just have to be looking at going into the 4th quarter, going the other way with the ball.
They've got time, though. 18 seconds remaining in the 3rd. Rice. Well, now, how would you like the job of spotting that ball?
You know, from up here is one angle. I think right down there on the line of scrimmage where the officials are would be a little bit easier to tell where that ball stopped going forward. It is going to be awfully close. You know, if Minnesota at this juncture doesn't get a first down and should not win this ball game, and it should be a tight loss,
that'll be a big
a lot of people are going to say, why didn't you kick a field goal?
And go up by 10. Well, the defense held. Kansas City ball.
Well, that might be that big play we were talking about they needed.
Good defensive stand by Kansas City.
Oh, we just, you know, Percy Snow there diving over the top. Kevin Ross diving over the top, hitting guys in the head. It was a great defensive play and a good example of guys slanting and getting under pads.
This will be the last play of the 3rd quarter. 1st and 10, Kansas City. And Barry Word driving his way up through a nice hole. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score Minnesota 21, Kansas City 17. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Today's NFL football is brought to you by ICO.
Randy, you can read hieroglyphics, otherwise known as football plays. What's taking place here?
What do you do when there's no board to draw on? You draw on the table. Was that coach fired up? Can you read that? What is that? You know what that says? That says we stopped them for about half a yard and they needed 3/4 of a yard.
Start of the 4th quarter here in Kansas City. On 2nd down, and Barry Word, a fresh back in for Kansas City. Guy who sat out all of last season, indeed 2 seasons, out of the University of Virginia, and really looking forward to the opportunity being given to show what he can do here.
Exactly, and a lot of credit to that left side of that offensive line. John Alt, Winters, Grunhard at center, and Barry Word keeps those pads low. You know, people say, what does that mean? When a guy runs with his pads horizontal, parallel to the ground, it's hard to stop him.
1st and 10, Kansas City from the 35. This is Barry Word again. And Barry Word continued to run, although getting back only to the line of scrimmage, but dragging Mike Merriweather with him. You talk about some powerful pumping legs.
Well, we talked about him earlier. I mean, Barry Word is 235 pounds plus. Now, the blocking we see here in the pit, guys are getting thrown around, guys are getting knocked. Great play by Keith Millard. Now look at Merriweather, grabs him. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 yards later, Barry Word decides to go down.
On 2nd and 10, Mark Dusbovic goes out for Minnesota. R.J. McMillan comes in as the 5th defensive back. Dante Whitaker in motion for Kansas City. Play action. DeBerg looking for Page. Complete. Great acrobatic catch by Stephon Page. And a flag thrown after the play. A little bit of wolfing going on between Stephon Page and Joey Browner.
And you can't really fault Reggie Rutland on that play. Stephon Page and he were right there together. Page just leaped off the ground and went for the ball.
In talking with Page yesterday, he said he in no way was going to back down from Joey Browner, was looking forward to the matchup, but I think he would only want that matchup on a field of football play.
And you saw it real quick on the score, on that score right down there. 20-14, Green Bay leading the Rams. And that's without the Magic Man, I think.
Howard Rowe doing a little housekeeping there to get in order what he's about to tell us. You know, we talk about the football players going through the heat down on the field. These guys having to do a great job, too.
Sportsmanlike conduct on the offense, 15-yard penalty.
Boy, talk about negating a great play.
And he has nobody to blame but himself. And Marty Schottenheimer wants a little explanation. But I tell you what, you can go up, you can make a great catch, you can talk about it being a great catch. You can tell the guy you beat, I beat you. But you want to see what you don't do? And there's stuff in the rule book. You don't throw the ball down at the receiver. That's taunting and that's unsportsmanlike. Say, well, heck, he didn't exactly slam it down on the guy, or he didn't, wait till he stood up and shove it in his face, but that's not the case. There's no place for that in football.
Randy, part of that housekeeping seemed to have been where to actually spot the ball. And what we have now is a 2nd and 9 situation.
Yeah, the penalty was after the catch. The 15 yards were taken from the spot where he was marked down.
Play action, complete to Jones. Jones gets the first down and spins for an extra 4 yards. You have to be in pretty good shape to do that. A 17-yard spin move.
And Jones is telling the crowd, come on, get up. The crowd hasn't been in this game since the middle of the first quarter, and they want these guys to yell a little bit. Not much of a fake by DeBerg, but he flips his ball out to Jones. Now, you watch something at the end here. Watch this. Spin. Spin. I played football for 22 years. We used to call those things butt rolls. You had to do the butt roll everywhere.
Well, Barry Word running hard. Interesting story on Barry Word. Great player at the University of Virginia, known as the last word, nickname, got into a little trouble.
He got in a little trouble. The folks here in Kansas City don't make much of it. They say, look, this is a real class kid. It's obvious he made a mistake. It's obvious he kind of did his bit for it. But let's give him some credit. Let's give him a chance.
Charged with distributing cocaine in the wrong place at the wrong time, but model citizen sense. DeBerg complete to Rob Thomas for the first down. Inside of Viking territory to the 23.
Well, DeBerg and the Chiefs have got the Minnesota Vikings guessing. They're jumping every time they go one way. The receivers go the other. Rob Thomas catches this ball, makes a nice little move here at the sideline, gives the hesitation step, and just barely does get pushed out of bounds.
Rob Thomas's father was drafted by the Chiefs. Aaron Thomas decided to play in the National Football League instead. Rob Thomas, one excellent athlete. Right now, great field position by the Chiefs. Play action, DeBerg. Going for Thomas again, and Thomas was raked across the head by Darrell Fullington.
Very, very close. I mean, he comes across his head with a little bit more authority, and we got a 15-yard penalty right there.
You were talking about the kind of great athlete Rob Thomas was And watching practice the other day, watching some of his moves on the practice field.
One of the players that wasn't practicing it was down on one knee. Thomas comes jogging along and bounds both feet up over the guy's head. And just sort of keeps running. Looks like a deer.
A la Julius Irving. Dime defensive package in for the Vikes on 2nd and 10 for Kansas City. Out of the eye. Word. Near the first down marker.
Barry Ward, the ball carrier. He was tackled by Reggie Ruffin.
And Christian Okoye had plenty of time to rest, and an outstanding job in substitution by Barry Word.
You know, this is kind of like a heavyweight fight. It seems one guy gets the advantage one round, the next guy gets the next. Right now, Minnesota looks a little tired. Kansas City now looks like the team that's fired up.
3rd and 2. Okoye, first down. Inside the 5 to the 3.
You ever wonder what it would look like if you had a running back, 6'1", 263 yards, running right at you, threatening to run you over? Well, look at this great camera work right here. Browner gets sealed inside. Jones gets a block, and here comes Christian. You want to get him? I don't want to get him. That's why I played offense. I didn't have to tackle guys like that. I mean, at least the defensive lineman I hit didn't have a 20-yard run to start.
1st and goal, ball marked at the 4. Now again, the quick clock. The ball was run out of bounds, but the clock.
After further review, play stand, first down.
The clock starts when the official signals.
Alfredo Roberts and Dante Whitaker in at 2 tight ends. Roberts was suffering a little bit from stomach cramps earlier. That wasn't really a bad injury, but obviously the feet is starting to get to these players.
Seconds on the 25-second clock.
Now that's what Steve DeBerg was screaming about before. Again, when that ball goes out of bounds, new rule in effect this year. The clock does not start on the snap, but when the official signals, with the exception of the last 5 minutes of the game and the last 2 minutes of the first half. 1st and goal. McNair. Tim Grunhard and David Lutz run the blocking up front.
The way DeBerg handles that ball, the way he's so adept at moving it in and out, it's almost a shame Steve DeBerg isn't 10 years younger and could run like an option in this situation down by the ends, but down by the goal line here. Because you'd have a heck of a time finding that ball. Is it in fullback's belly? No. Does he have it? I don't know. Is he giving it to the halfback? Maybe.
Impressive drive by Kansas City. 2nd and goal. Okoye. Touchdown, Kansas City. Literally ran out of his shoes.
How big now? Does that not going for a field goal on 4th and half a yard look? We talked about the Vikings getting a lot of tacklers on Okoye earlier. How many are around now? You want to try out one guy, one defensive back trying to tackle him? Ken Johnson never had a chance, number 22.
appears that there's a replay in process, checking to see whether or not Christian Okoye's knee hit the ground before he crossed the goal line. Replay official today is Royal Cathcart, and a new rule in effect this year, 2-minute limit on making a decision via the instant replay.
Now here's a look at it. See, keep your eye on the goal line. Can we see the knee going down? Not before the ball got over the end line. You know, you get decisions like that by the replay official. It's kind of like, you know, the first base call for a first base umpire. That slap, slap. You know, does the ball get there first, or does the foot get there first? Is he safe or is he out?
And you see Howard Rowe looking down at his watch. The 2-minute clock starts when the umpire signals that a replay is taking place. So there is a 2-minute limit in place, and again this year the replay booth does not get any audio from us, so they can't be swayed by us.
Maybe for that 2 minutes they can play the music from Jeopardy.
After further review, play stands, touchdown.
Nick Lowry on for the point after. It's up, and it's good. So Kansas City retakes the lead. Seesaw battle. Chiefs on top by 3.
This NFL game summary is sponsored by Levi's 100% Cotton Dockers. If you're not wearing Dockers, you're just wearing pants.
Well, thanks to a 2-yard touchdown run by Christian Okoye, Kansas City back on top of Minnesota 24-21. 9:35 remaining in the contest here in Kansas City. And Randy, I thought we were supposed to have a great defensive battle here today.
Exactly. Like I said earlier, it's like a big heavyweight fight. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are landing them on the jaw. We never know. There's plenty of time left in this fourth quarter. Minnesota might rally back and land a few of their own.
But one thing the Chiefs have done is, as you suggested, they've gone back to the ground game. They did not rely continually on the passing of DeBerg.
That's what opens up Steve DeBerg's fakes. That's what opens up Steve DeBerg's little dump passes in the flats away from the fakes.
To Walker at the 8. Reversing field across the 20. And Herschel Walker up near the 24-yard line. Herschel Walker doing the job all afternoon, and Steve DeBerg, impressive numbers indeed, but as you said, the run game helping him to be effective.
And there's our defensive struggle. You like that? Gee, man, 594 yards so far.
From the team, Minnesota, that led the NFC and all of the NFL in defense, and Kansas City that led the AFC at number 2 in the NFL. Walker on first down. No gain.
This is the time where it's nice to have your opener at home. This home crowd can come up, they can make the noise, it can give you a little bit of energy. These guys are tired. They are dragging. They will have no trouble sleeping tonight.
Second and 10. Wilson under pressure from Derek Thomas. Incomplete.
Derek Thomas told us 2 days ago, I don't know when I'll do it, but I'm going to have to let loose. Right now, he lets loose. He lined up originally off the line of scrimmage. Then he lined up at the outside. He came on a blitz and delivered a real vicious blow to the back of Wade Wilson, who never saw it coming.
The man whose TV hero is Bart Simpson because he's a radical character. 3rd and 10. Going for Jordan. Complete. First down. Steve Jordan with yet another big play deep in the Kansas City territory. Kevin Porter on the stop. A 35-yard pass play from Wade Wilson to Steve Jordan.
We're going to see a little liberal pass blocking here by Wolfley, the right guard. Watch him get hooked. A little bit of a takedown, a little rodeo-style offensive line play. But Jordan splits the seams of the defense beautifully, and the ball is delivered right on the money. This is why this guy is considered the finest tight end in the NFL. He gets open anywhere.
First and 10 from the Kansas City 41. Walker. Reverse. Going for the flea flicker. Broken up nicely by Kevin Porter.
A very, very nice play by Dan Salamua. 6-7 yards deep in the backfield is not the nose guard's usual realm. He's usually groveling in the middle. But watch Salamua in the middle of the screen come up. He blocks off the reverse. He can't make the handoff. Hassan Jones has got to make the reverse. He is completely eliminated. And watch this reaction. Yeah, Kevin Porter.
2nd and 17. Percy Snow, sack.
These are the kind of things the Kansas City Chiefs had in mind for Percy Snow, number 59, when they paid him over $1 million signing bonus. Get to the quarterback, get to the runner, make the big plays.
Only the second rookie to start for Kansas City at linebacker. The other, of course, Derek Thomas last season. 3rd and 25. Hit delivered by J.C. Pearson on Ira Hillary, the intended receiver.
Give the credit to J.C. Pearson there. Wade Wilson put that ball right where Hillary could get to it. It was a nice reaction by Pearson, number 24, to dive in there, put his helmet right in between the arms of Hillary and prevent the catch.
The book on Pearson, he can really anticipate what's going to happen. He did that time. Lucen. Nasworthy takes it at the 20. He dives his way to the 29. A 36-yard punt, 15-yard return, 3.9 seconds hang time. We've got a game.
Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Goodyear. Goodyear salutes the kickoff of the 1990 NFL season. Hewlett-Packard LaserJet printers, they'll get you noticed. And by Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste, so get out of the old, get into the cold.
Well, Kansas City, which had gotten off to a very sluggish start last year, trying to make certain that doesn't happen this year with 6:21 remaining in the game, leading the Minnesota Vikings 24-21.
Minnesota's had a chance to rest. Let's see how their defense can come back.
1st and 10 for the Chiefs. Okoye hanging his way up to about the 33. Pick up a 4. Bring up a 2nd and 6. Scott Studwell on the stop, assisted by Ken Johnson. Tampa Bay 38-21 over Detroit. Boy, Ray Perkins, boot camp, carrying over into the season. And Washington, a rude homecoming for Joe Bugel.
The Hogs are feasting.
2nd and 6. Stephon Page in motion. Okoye. 1st down by 2 yards. Clock is running. 5:20 remaining in the contest.
You never count the Minnesota Vikings out of a game. They're kind of like the 49ers. They can come back with their last breath, but it's going to be critical here. Minnesota has got to trap Kansas City back here and get some field position for their offense. Okoye right there had a gaping hole on his left side. Great job.
Okoye missed Friday's practice with a slight temperature. Has been well rested because of the running of Barry Word. First and 10, ball at the 41. Okoye. Gain of about 2 will bring up a 2nd and 8, and what better weapon to have for control purposes than Okoye?
Exactly, and it looks like Kansas City is concentrated on that left side. That's where Millard and Dolman generally line up. They are so quick, they are so active, they jump around a lot. And it also happens to be where Kansas City's best offensive lineman, in all the coaches' opinion, John Alt, number 76 is. Let's not forget that left guard, Winters, number 65, has had some great blocks so far in this half.
And the clock continues to run. 4:15 remaining in the game. 2nd and 8. Ball lost. Okoye recovers it. So an alert Christian Okoye averts disaster for Kansas City by falling on the mishandled snap. Timeout in the field of play. Kansas City on top by 3. NFL doubleheader action next Sunday here on CBS. First half of doubleheader, Chicago at Green Bay. Phoenix will travel to Philadelphia. Then at 4 o'clock Eastern time, it'll be Washington at San Francisco. Some of you will see the New York Giants at Dallas, while others will see the New Orleans Saints at Minnesota. It'll be next Sunday right here on CBS, and it all begins with NFL Today in New York. Greg Gumbel, Terry Bradshaw, Leslie Visser, and Pat O'Brien. Right now, Jerry Burns, very concerned. 3:52 remaining in the contest. 3rd and 14 for Kansas City. Pressure. Caught by McNair. Not enough for the first down.
That was a nice call by Marty Schottenheimer and Steve DeBerg and the rest of that staff. It's just the execution wasn't there. Minnesota made a nice play, put the pincher move on him, and he never really had a chance to go anywhere. McNair was trapped as soon as he had gained about 6 yards. Very key possession here for the Minnesota Vikings. They have got to get this ball past the 30-yard line. If Kelly Goodburn gets a decent punt off, Hillary must return this punt at least 15 to 20 yards.
Ira Hillary back at the 20 of Minnesota, waiting to receive the Kelly Goodburn punt. And Hillary pushed back to the 15 and runs it out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. Pushed out of bounds by Tracy Rogers. So Minnesota will take over after that 42-yard punt, 8-yard return, and 2:51 remaining in the contest. And Jerry Burns' squad will be starting. Ball marked at the 23, its own 23.
Now here's the situation. Minnesota doesn't have to press. They stay within themselves. That offense you saw in the 3rd quarter, moving the ball down the field with Herschel Walker on swing passes, that's the offense you want to see now. Now's not the time to panic.
Herschel Walker to the near side. And Wilson throws it complete at the 30-yard line to Hassan Jones.
Taken down there by J.C. Pearson and Chris Martin, number 57. You know, Minnesota's got 3 timeouts left. We're moving in on 2.5 minutes left in the game. There's plenty of time.
2nd and about 4. Wilson throws it incomplete, throwing to Herschel Walker.
Derek Thomas, great time on that rush. Almost had the sack of Wilson and forced the throw early.
2:26 remaining on the game clock.
Here you see Derek Thomas on the left side of your screen. Will he get there in time? Time enough. That wounded duck floats off, and it's not a threat.
Dime defensive package in for Kansas City. 6 defensive backs.
The pressure now is on a veteran offensive line for Minnesota.
3rd down. Wilson pumps. Throws it low and incomplete to Rick Finney. .221 remaining on the game clock. Now this situation, 5 minutes, under 5 minutes in the game clock starts on the snap.
4th and 2, and it would appear that Jerry Burns, and yes he is, they're going for it. You got to think you're putting the ball in one guy's hands right here. He's your man, he's your offense. You got to give the ball to Herschel somehow.
Wilson going up top for Herschel Walker, nearly intercepted by Kevin Porter. And Chris Martin applied the pressure on Wade Wilson.
It was a good job by the Minnesota offensive line. But just at the end, Chris Martin got in there and put a good hit on his old teammate Wade Wilson. And Kevin Porter could have had that interception right there at the end of that play, number 27, and that would have been actually a negative. They would have lost yardage on that interception. Because now they get the ball on the Minnesota 31. There's going to be a lot of doubts come tomorrow morning, James. They're going to talk about not going for that field goal, and they're going to talk about going 30 yards downfield on 4th and 2 with less than 2.5 minutes remaining.
2:14 remaining. 1st and 10 for the Chiefs at the 31 of Minnesota. Okoye. Flag on a play as Okoye goes down to the 20-yard line. Enough for the 1st down, but let's see the call. And it'll be called back.
Well, that's one way to keep Okoye under 100 yards against you. Minnesota's held backs under 100 yards in 55 of the last 56 games.
And that translates into just about 3.5 seasons.
And right to this point, Okoye's got 84.
Offense, number 72, holding, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's Dave Lutz, the veteran 6'6", 300-pounder out of Georgia Tech in his 8th year. You talk about big fullbacks. That's not a bad-sized guard either.
1st and 20 for the Chiefs. 2:06 remaining.
Kansas City has to get a 1st down, or Minnesota is going to get the ball back and is still in the game.
Okoye. Dropped at the ankles by Ken Johnson. Two-minute warning. Kansas City with the ball and leading by 3. Two minutes remaining in the contest. Jerry Burns, Minnesota Vikings trailing by 3. Minnesota with 2 timeouts remaining. Kansas City with 3. Ball is marked at the 35 of Minnesota, and it'll be a 2nd and 14 for Kansas City, Randy.
This is the ball game, James. This possession. If Kansas City can get a 1st down in the next 2 plays, even though Minnesota's got 3 timeouts, I believe the ball game's over if they get a 1st.
Okoye. Timeout signal by Minnesota, leaving them with 1 after a 2-yard gain by Okoye.
Well, now comes gamble time. Does Kansas City go with a safe pass that might get them 3 or 4 yards with the pass and hope the runner can get a 1st down? Do they gamble and risk an interception at this point? Or do they just say, if Christian makes the 1st down, he makes the 1st down. If he doesn't, we'll give him the ball back and go for a field goal. They are well within field goal range for Nick Lowry.
There's Floyd Peters,
Yeah, Floyd's in there. He's into the game. Look at him yelling and screaming.
defensive coordinator for the Vikings.
I tell you, that gentleman right there, if he is not one of the next head coaches in the NFL, along with defensive backfield coach Tony Dungy for the Kansas City Chiefs, those two guys in this ball game right now as coaches, those should be two of the next head football coaches in the NFL. And Floyd Peters has got to have his defense attack here. They've got to attack this Kansas City offense and take away the easy plays.
3rd and 12. 1:54 remaining. Word. Smacked to the ground by Keith Millard.
And how do you spell attack in Minnesota? You spell attack M-I-L-L-A-R-D. Watch Millard come off the ball here. Just drives right through. Grunhard tried to block back and get him. Millard wasn't having any of that.
The period was put after that word.
That's right.
So Minnesota has just called its last timeout.
Well, now you're looking at 4th down. The ball is on the 38-yard line. It would have to be a 55.5, 56-yard field goal for Lowry if they decide to kick it. It's an awful long way in heavy air. And they're going to punt that ball. They're not going to use Lowry. I guess Nick kind of figured that out. He's undoing his belt on his game pants. He figures, they're done with me for today. Critical punt here. This play, he has not punted well. Kelly Goodburn has not punted very well today. Now is the time to use those inside the 20 stats and kill a ball inside the 10 and angle it for the end zone. They're coming after. There's nobody back there. They're going for a block here.
Goodburn gets a high one. And a good play by Charles Washington. A 42-yard punt by Kelly Goodburn, and the ball is down at the 1 of Minnesota.
Well, it's a gamble by Jerry Burns and the Vikings. Get all 11 guys up there, see if you can't get a block. Try to hold up the kill guys on the outside. Now watch this play. If you catch it there, they've got it on the 10. You let it bounce, you risk it going in the end zone. Oh, it gets away. Whoa, that is dangerous. One more bounce and it's on the 20-yard line. But a great play by Washington. Yeah, nice kick, Kelly. Celebrate a little bit.
1:37 remaining in the contest. Minnesota at its own 1. And the ball will be moved. Apparently the official got some communication from upstairs. The ball is moved to the 4.
After further review, first touching at the 4-yard line, first down.
3 yards.
That's absolutely correct. Never count the Minnesota Vikings out, folks. A minute and a half is plenty of time for them to go 97 yards.
Steve Jordan, complete. And Steve Jordan gets the first down, stopped by Chris Martin. You see the time remaining, 1:23.
One more play. They got to start thinking about going out of bounds after they catch it. They can risk another one over the middle.
And flags on a play. Derek Thomas offside. Whether he was drawn or not, we'll find out.
Sort of looked like he got that forward momentum leaning and couldn't stop himself. Ooh, Zimmerman, number 65, buds a little bit.
Number 65, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down repeat.
The eyes of the lineman, the next lineman.
Zimmerman's the kind of guy who makes very, very few mistakes in these critical situations. You got to put that out of your mind. You forget about it right now. Your mind is now on this play. It's first down. Heck, you've only got 90 yards to go. This Viking offense is explosive. They can do it.
First and 15. 1:16 remaining. For Carter. Incomplete. Covered step for step by Kevin Ross.
Second and 15.
1:12 remaining. Brings up a second and 15.
In this situation, the offensive linemen actually have an advantage. These defenders now have been rushing the passer, playing the ball, rushing the passer, rushing the passer. These guys are getting tired. A strong physical line like this Minnesota offensive line can give Wilson the time to throw. He's going to have to step up because they'll run him around.
Neil Smith.
Looked like Zimmerman moving again.
Flags everywhere. We'll see if Neil Smith was drawn off sides or not.
Keep your eye on the left tackle. Number 65. There it is. Zimmerman one more time.
And that's a Pro Bowl player.
False start, number 65. Offense, half a distance. Replay second down.
Well, that's the left tackle in the league along with a few others, but that's a guy that a lot of people figure is the best offensive lineman in the NFL, making a couple of very critical fourth quarter mistakes.
A fifth-year player out of Oregon. Minnesota with no timeouts. Comes to the line, second and 20. Complete to Hassan Jones. Nailed by J.C. Pearson at the 15. And a flag on a play.
Got a personal foul for roughing the passer against Kansas City, it looks like. So this is the kind of situation that's going to test that Pecos River togetherness. They didn't have poles and cliffs as high as this is right now. They are in a bad situation, and it takes a lot of teamwork.
And Marty Schottenheimer trying to get his young troops to settle down a bit.
Personal foul, number 58. Unnecessary roughness. Tack 15 yards, under completion, first down.
And that's Derek Thomas.
That's a young player's mistake, and we'll see it right here. Wade Wilson, the ball is gone, clearly gone. Don't hit the quarterback. The league does not want you to touch the quarterbacks. Once that ball is gone, great call.
NFL Rookie of the Year, Derek Thomas. First Chiefs All-Pro at outside linebacker since Bobby Bell. Under a minute to play, 53 seconds on the game clock. And the ball is moved out to the 30 of Minnesota. Now, first and 10.
Even though they've only got 53 seconds, James, this gives Minnesota room to breathe with their offense. Look for Minnesota to get that ball downfield with either Herschel Walker or Anthony Carter. Anthony Carter is due for a big play.
And Minnesota will love dearly to get the ball in field goal range for their newly acquired kicker, Donald Igwe-Buike. His longest career field goal, 55 yards, and that came against Minnesota. Play being reviewed upstairs, and I'm sure for spotting purposes.
Clock operator, will you please put 59 seconds on the clock? Thank you.
Spotting of the clock. And there's Donald Igwe-Buike. Jerry Burns says the guy has performed under pressure and delivered. Wilson. Trip.
Derek Thomas took Zimmerman inside, and Gary Zimmerman actually tripped Wade Wilson there. It was not Derek Thomas. It was the pressure from Thomas that made Zimmerman trip Wilson.
Second down. Jordan can't handle it.
Dan Salamua almost had himself an interception there. Would have been a huge play. He's got a couple interceptions already. They'd like to drop him on that off that nose guard. Look at him going, come here, come here. Not that I need a rest, but yeah, come on, get me out of the game.
So Greg Meisner comes in to replace Dan Salamua.
This is a tough physical lineman who's got unbelievable athletic ability for a guy his size. They say he jumps up and down off these boxes.
3rd and 18 with 45 seconds remaining. For Hassan Jones and Anthony Carter in their direction, incomplete, will bring up a 4th down.
That was very, very close to being a deflected pass right to Anthony Carter.
39 seconds remaining.
Well, we look for this exact same play to line up those wide receivers out there and throw that ball up there. Hope they can come down with the ball. And if you're the defense for Kansas City, you don't let anybody behind you. I don't care where you have to line up. You got Donaldson's back there about 25 yards off the ball. He should be deeper than the deepest receiver.
In the direction of 3 receivers. Incomplete as Kevin Porter got his hand on the ball. No flag on the play. And Kansas City will take over with 32 seconds remaining. And Randy Cross played the part of prophet at the top of the show, smelling the Kansas City upset.
I think we had 2 different ball games here, James. Early in the game, Minnesota gave Kansas City 14 points. From then on, it was all Minnesota. But Minnesota is one of those live by the sword, die by the swords. That's the kind of team, they beat you with mistakes. Today, it looks like they're going to be beaten by their own mistakes.
Kansas City talked about how important it was to not play from behind. And as you mentioned, they were spotted by 14 points. And the meal that's called win the game.
Well, Marty Schottenheimer told us on Friday, you know, this is just like any other game. It's not that important to win this thing. It's just the opener. It's just another football game. This win just became very big for this franchise. It gives these guys a lot of confidence against a legitimate Super Bowl contender in Minnesota.
Schottenheimer, who was 1-4 in season openers prior to today, picks up victory number 2 on opening day over the Minnesota Vikings. And Jerry Burns sees his team fall by the score of 24-21.